All right, so I'm going to show you my little demonstration here for why the sun is never in the clouds, how it has an apparent position due to viewer perspective. So this first green flashlight represents a viewer on the west coast of Florida looking west at a sunset. You can see the sun is higher than the clouds. Definitely higher than the clouds. The sun itself is, I think like 14, 15 inches, maybe 16 inches off the ground. The clouds are like 11 inches off the ground. And so you got the viewer in Florida watching a sunset. Now you can obviously see the sun is definitely above the clouds, but when you get down here to the viewer position of Florida, it looks like it's below the clouds, when in fact, it's above the clouds. Apparent position, not a physical position to the viewer. So we're watching the sunset from Florida on the west coast of Florida, looking over the Gulf towards the Pacific, right? So that's this green flashlight. Now we're gonna move to the red flashlight. This is my guy out here in the Pacific. And he's got the sun directly above him. High noon, middle of the Pacific, high noon above him. We know for a fact that the sun at high noon is well over 35 miles high. I'm just being super generous. I think it's way, way, way higher than that. But we know for a fact it's over 35 miles high due to amateur weather balloon footage. So sun at high noon, this guy, red flashlight, in the Pacific, has the sun high noon above him, right? At this exact same time, the guy in Florida is watching the sun set. We just saw that. It's getting low on the horizon for him. It looks like it's in the clouds or below the clouds, when in fact it's actually above them. So the only time you see the sun in the clouds phenomenon is when the sun's setting or rising. So the guy in Florida is watching it set. It appears to be in the clouds. The guy in the Pacific at the exact same time has it high noon at apex directly above him. We know it's higher than 35 miles at that point. Clouds don't go that high. All right, now we're gonna move from the Pacific to the east coast of Australia. You got another cloud layer. It's also 1 foot high, just like the last cloud layer. And I'm gonna mention something interesting about that in a second. So we got our other green flashlight representing Australia. We come down and we see that the sun appears to be below the clouds. When in fact, it's above the clouds. So the guy out in the Pacific, you can see him, red flashlight, out in the Pacific, has the sun directly above him at noon. We know it's above the clouds. Whereas the guy in Florida is watching it set. It looks like it's in the clouds. And the guy in Australia is watching it rise. And it looks like it's below the clouds. Now, if you look closely, you can see that other cloud layer that was present for the guy in Florida. It looks like it's below the sun from this perspective, when we know it's not. Well, it is still below the sun, but it looks like it's way below the sun now. Whereas we know it's the same height as the cloud layer that we're looking at here from Australia. So that cloud layer way back there is 1 foot off the ground. This cloud layer here in Australia is 1 foot off the ground. The mock sun is about 15, 16 inches off the ground. So we're looking at a sunrise in Australia, the east coast of Australia, looking towards the east over the Pacific, watching the sun rise. It looks like it's coming up from under the clouds. Looks like it's got clouds behind it. Whereas the guy in Florida, charge a little bit. Guy in Florida over here is seeing the sun set, and it looks like it's below the clouds, when in fact it's above the clouds. So from Florida and Australia, both of these guys are viewing the sun in the clouds. It looks like it has clouds in front of, behind it, above it, below it. Whereas the guy in the Pacific at the exact same moment in time has the sun, high moon at apex directly above him, which we know is well above 35 miles high. So the position where the guy in Florida and the guy in Australia are videoing, filming, photographing the sun in the clouds is an apparent position due to perspective over a level plane where everything converges to a vanishing point. When everything converges to that vanishing point, they begin to look like they are together. However, we know that when the sun is in the vanishing point for Florida and Australia over there, that it's actually way above 35 miles high. And the guy in the Pacific, at the same time, sees it at apex directly above his head. I don't know how I can make this any more clear than that. The sun can never be in the clouds. It's an optical illusion due to perspective over a level plane where everything converges into a vanishing point.